Hello and welcome to the Animation Communication podcast, your source for discussion about animation, film, fandom, and more. So please join your host, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, or KP, and Lauren Kizich, the Abbey Roadie, for today's discussion. If you like what you hear, please remember to support by giving a like, a follow, as well as subscribing to the main I Love Kim Possible a Lot channel on YouTube. Spread the word and keep being a part of a great community. This episode contains some mild adult language.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Animation Communication. I am not Lauren, and joining me is Lauren.
And I am not KP.
There you go. So for this month in general, it's going to be kind of sporadic because I have 2 cons in August, and then in case you care, I am going back to art school because COVID has made the industry more accessible, but also much more messy to break in. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just do art school and come back. So anyway, that's my schedule. So it's bittersweet. What are you gonna do? Anyway, so before we get into the headlines, just people who care. This episode is about highlighting one of the conventions I'm going to, Nerdfest, this 2 weeks of this recording or whatever, or if you're listening to this in the future. A lot of this information won't be relevant, so you can skip around a little bit, but my August cons are Everfree Northwest, which I've done before, which is the My Little Pony con that I like forever and will go to, and then this one called Nerdfest, which is a general pop culture con of anything, a lot of gaming, but they're also their first year, and their first year con, and they've been super nice and super great, and I wanted to kind of give them a spotlight. So that's kind of what's happening this week, if that's your thing. So we interview Kevin, the con head, about his motivations for starting a con in Davenport, Iowa, a place I'd never been to, and I learned that they like corn there apparently. So, if you're local or from the Chicago area, it sounds like they're having a good time. So, they have Costco there and Girl Scouts there. So, the best nerd products out there. So, and I'm running a bunch of events too. So hopefully it will be fun. And I will also have my dog Harry there, as I will say later on the thing. So anyway, we're gonna do our headlines for animation stuff, and then we will get into the interview, so hopefully you will find it interesting. If not, that's your problem, it sounds like. So, you can listen to another episode. And then, as well, always, please like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, tell your friends. Channel is getting a little better, but it's also still very, 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 very slow. So, we appreciate anything you can do to help us grow a little bit. I just want some people to care. So
oh, come on, the people that are tuning in care.
And for the people that do care, I appreciate you. I hear you. Well, I read you on Twitter sometimes, so there you go. So
anyway,
okay.
I will quickly run through just a couple headlines here just before we get into our little interview. So first off, Sony Animation's Vivo just released on Netflix, and I have it as my goal to watch it very, very soon, because I have been highly anticipating this for a while. As many people have noticed, it didn't get as much of a PR push, just like what happened with Wish Dragon.
It seemed to be... I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Is that the one with Lin-Manuel Miranda as the monkey?
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda, yes.
It's a complicated name, okay?
Yeah, it is. Yes,
no one
that's
in
why
Hollywood goes by 3 names except him, so, it's a lot.
I beg to differ, but it is a trickier name. So, Hamilton guy. That's if you get Hamilton
guy.
and In the Heights. Hamilton in the Heights Moana. So for those who don't know, but if
Make way.
if you don't know by this point, then I don't know what else to say. You've been living under a rock or just been way too shut off in quarantine. But but the movie just released, and he's been working on the music since 2009 for Vivo, and that was back when it was a project that DreamWorks was originally working on, but then they shelved it. And so I believe it was also because it was due to the corporate changeover, when there was the buyout that happened for DreamWorks and Universal. I could be wrong in that, but I just know that it was in the middle of production there. Things changed. Suddenly it wasn't. So basically it got released from DreamWorks, and it was taken over to Sony, and Sony was like, yes, let's do this. So please go support it. It has not been getting enough coverage in terms of, I don't know why the PR is so bad for it was bad for Wish Dragon, it's bad for this one, and meanwhile all the attention went to the Mitchells versus the Machines, but which again, these were all 3 animated Sony productions, and so please, and also if you haven't seen Wish Dragon, please go see that too. It's really good. We talked about it in a recent podcast as well. But with Vivo, it's about a kinkajou, which is kind of like a relative, he looks like a monkey in the movie. He's more a relative of the raccoon, believe it or not. But
okay, I believe you.
He has a journey to make from Cuba to Miami to deliver a love song from his owner to the love of his life that he never got to confess to. So, and it's a whole musical journey told with lots of vibrant colors and fun art styles and stuff like that, and basically about Vivo making friends along the way as he bonds with people and animals on his way to Florida. So yeah. So I mean, that's just a general sum up, but a lot of people have been really loving it and saying it's gotten them really emotional at points. So if it's gonna be a happy musical romp but also have tears in it, then it's a good one. So please go support it. And also the other headline, you probably have all been tuned into what has been happening with Activision Blizzard, the hot mess that is Activision Blizzard right now. But in terms of more recent steps, the old CEO stepped down and 2 new CEOs were put in place.
Lauren, can you give a breakdown of what it is if people don't know what's going on?
So just gonna briefly sum it up.
It's like a really bro culture plague that just got out of hand, right?
Yeah, it was basic. So Activision Blizzard, it was originally 2 companies. They got merged. It apparently had a really prominent frat boy culture amongst a lot of the male employees. And a lot of them were higher ups. Some of them were even in recruiting, like in HR. And they were known for a lot of sexual harassment of their female colleagues and making them do things that, they were making them do all the work while they sat back and played games. And then they even bullied female employees, one to the point of actually suicide. She actually killed herself, but it was while on vacation. But it was because the culture was so brutal. It finally, with enough people speaking up, the state of California sued Activision Blizzard for the history of sexual harassment. And this is not even delving into the fact that they had this thing called the Cosby Suite during a convention.
What?
And yes, this was still around the time that a lot of allegations were coming out against Bill Cosby. So it wasn't, and they were saying, it was because the carpet in the hotel room looked, kind of kitschy and cheesy like his sweaters. And you look at the carpet, it's not. It really isn't. And they had a huge framed picture of Bill Cosby in the Cosby Suite where they were trying to get women drunk and lure them up to the room, and it was bad. It was bad, and that's not even. There's a whole
now I'm
whole
sad.
message.
I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, but it was. But at the very least, a lot of positive steps seem to be moving forward for them really quickly. There's still work to be done, but at the very least, first of all, there was a walkout one day at Activision Blizzard. So all of these employees, like I want to say almost 200 of them, walked out of the Irvine campus to support, to support the women and anybody that had faced harassment in the workplace there. And then there is a whole bunch of, there's also talks of them building a game industry union, because people that work in the gaming industry, a lot of them basically aren't protected by a union. So it'll help them, take care of them and stuff like that, and help them face against any, hopefully there won't be, but humans are gross, that hopefully in the event of any future harassment that, that they're taken care of. So, and that goes for both sides. So they're trying to make sure that that's covered. But that also happened to be rooting out all of the people that were involved at Blizzard that not only condoned, but were like actively, harassing and doing horrible things to the female employees there. So hopefully this is a sign of a really good change to come for the company, because they really needed that once it came to light how much bad stuff had been going on for years. And yeah, it's a heavy story. Then that's just me briefly summing up all the stuff that had been going down. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole and look up every detail, there's plenty of articles about it.
There's been a lot of no fun internet things that have been happening the last 3 weeks or so. So,
Yeah, so, and I'm not going to go into the rest of those. I just want to keep it condensed to 2.
Yeah.
But at the very least, it seems like it's a positive upswing for the Activision Blizzard events. It seems like even if it's a little move uphill, it's a move uphill at the very least, who knows what's going to happen from this point, but hopefully it means better things.
The moral of this podcast is don't be a dick, please.
Yeah, you treat everybody with kindness and respect when you're working. Especially, look, it's kind of funny that there's this whole bro culture with video gaming when, isn't it like statistically, there were like stats that came out saying like it's about 50-50, if not teetering over a little bit more, that more women are playing video games than men.
Yeah, it started getting marketed in the 80s for men specifically to offset kind of like the Barbie kind of like boy, blue versus pink stuff. They didn't add everything about it, but Pong can't be is gender neutral. I'm sorry, unless you make the Pong different colors or whatever. So historically it doesn't make any sense. But hopefully, I don't know much about the gaming industry, but I would hope that as time goes on, it becomes more gender neutral. But I don't know things. So
yeah. But anyway, that does cover it for the sitch this time around.
Oh, can I add one more sitch, by the way? I'll keep it brief.
Go ahead.
So my favorite thing that's happened that is good this week is Viacom was just like, let's launch this Kickstarter for Avatar, our RPG tabletop game, and I bet no one will pay for it. And then turns out people are paying for it. So I think it's kind of weird that a corporate company is doing a Kickstarter, but fine, whatever. Basically, I think their goal was like 50,000 as far as basically an RPG, not RGP, I don't know, a role-playing game where you choose what bender you are, and you play the different errors and stuff like that. Launched from the official Avatar YouTube page, which I think is neat. And I think it got 1 million. It hit 1 million in like a day or something like that. And right now it's on the cusp. There you go, cusp. It's on the cusp of about 4 million. So, I think what Viacom is learning is, as well as the Olympic stuff, Avatar is still kicking pretty hardcore, so I'm curious to see. I get some vibes. I mean, well, they launched Avatar Studios, so they are definitely making new Avatar stuff, so I'm curious to see what comes from the future. Hopefully some more backtracking, as well as Korra is my favorite Avatar, so maybe making Korra's story that is coherent would be, nice. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that because if you want to donate to the Kickstarter, even though they have all the money, then you can donate it to get some perks. So it's interesting to see how, you know, Avatar kind of has become like one of the flagship franchises of Nickelodeon over time, and that people just like won't forget it forever and ever. So even with the Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh yeah, you still there?
No, I'm still there. That's
Okay.
what I'm like going like. That's what I was going like. Never. It's like we want to move past Shyamalan. We do. We just never want to remember it. So this is anything coming out of Avatar Studios at this point is a step forward. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that ends the sitch, and then we can move on to our interview right now, right?
Yep, so hope you guys enjoy the interview with Kevin of Nerdfest, talking about Nerdfest things. Woo.
It's gonna be fun!
If you like conventions, hopefully you're fun.
Anyway, today for our guest, we have a Kevin here who would like to share his convention running experience today because, guess what? I've never run a convention. KP's never run a convention. We'd like to know more. I'm sure you would too. Kevin, why don't you do a little...
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do a little intro for yourself here.
I've never ran a convention either, but I do have a really cool festival coming up here in now like 3 weeks, 19 days.
You wanna plug it first before we get into things?
Yeah. Nerdfest, only the greatest festival for anyone who considers themselves a nerd.
It's a big net.
Yeah. I think that's just about everybody that listens to our podcast. Come on, you are. If you're here, you know why you're here. So
yes, the weebs, the geeks, the nerds, all of them.
So tell us a little bit. Where is it? When is it? Like what kind of events are gonna happen? Like give everyone the spiel.
So it is in 19 days. It's that last weekend of August, the 27th through the 29th. It's here in Davenport, Iowa, downtown. It's at the River Center, Radisson, and RME. We have 3 venues booked for the event. They're huge venues. We have over 100 activities, including board games, card games, Dungeons and Dragons, cosplay, hosted by your very own KP.
Yeah. Hi, I'm here. So, if you guys have been listening to the podcast in the last month or so, this is the last convention I'm doing in the month of August. So that's why I was like, "Hey, Kevin, why don't you just come on and plug your thing since it's a first year event and I'm a nice person, so everyone can hear about it." So that's what we're here talking about. So Kevin's a first year convention runner, and we're talking about all the hard things he's had to do in order to start a convention, because everyone wants to start a convention, but then they don't realize how much money it is, and it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of work. It takes a big team. I'm surrounded by a very great community, and they all pitch in. It's been a really cool experience. But yeah, it's not easy. It definitely has its struggles. There's always logistical issues and hurdles that you have to go through, and not to mention the fact that we started planning this in the middle of a pandemic. So, but why we're doing it outweighs how hard it is. So,
yeah, I think a good place to start would be where did you start in working with conventions, and we can follow our journey from there.
Yeah, so I'm actually an equipment manager for a wedding entertainment company. I've done over 300 events where I've set up, tore down. As far as conventions go, I've done bridal shows and stuff like that. I haven't actually worked a full convention, but I've been to quite a few now. I love Gen Con. I love C2E2. I love the big conventions, but they're all kind of really far from where we are. So, and a lot of people don't get to go to them because they either can't travel or whatever. And we have a really big community around here that loves stuff like that. So I'm like, well, why not in our backyard?
Yeah, makes complete sense. And you're right. Accessibility is, especially regionally, it's sometimes really tricky. And I know for sure, like last year didn't help any easier too. But it's good that at the very least we're kind of like trying to edge back into things again this year, with all the proper preparations and precautions, and I'm sure actually to a degree planning throughout the pandemic last year kind of helped you prepare the convention for this year.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things that we've seen happen, a lot of things like safety guidelines that came about that really prepared us to make sure that we're having a fun, safe time, as well as just the amount of extra time we had to plan allowed it to be as big as it is. And it is very big. So
how many people are you expecting?
So we already have attendance of 3,000, so we're probably looking at between 10 to 12,000.
Nice. That's pretty good for our first year.
That's really, I was gonna say that's a really hefty crowd. I love that.
Yeah, I've done first years before with like maybe like 200 to 300 people, and they're fun, but they're very slow. So that sounds like a good amount of people.
Yeah, we have a very full list of things to do, so it draws a big crowd, and we're actually in a really good location. We're within a 5-hour drive of most major metropolitans here in the Midwest area. So you got Chicago that's 2.5 hours away, Des Moines, Iowa that's 2.5 hours away. You got Indiana that's about 4 hours away. You got Wisconsin that's like 3 to 4 hours away. A lot of big cities or St. Louis is a few hours away. A lot of big cities are like we're right in the middle of them, so we have a good.
No, it's definitely better to be centralized for stuff like that, because then you're far more reachable for a lot more areas.
Exactly.
And I think what's happening after COVID is for hopefully the Delta variant won't get too bad where we just have another cycle of just I guess we can't do things anymore for another year, rip. But no jinxing, I guess. But I think it's also kind of created a bigger demand for these kind of things too, because I know I usually do conventions at least once every 6 months or so, depending. And Lauren, would you say, Lauren, in a non-COVID year, that's about as many as you do?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, because it's it's funny because with conventions, I don't go to multiple a year unless I'm a vendor, and even then, it's been I want to say the most I've gone is 2 or 3, maybe I'd say 3 throughout the year, but usually they're more, I guess you could say more local, or at least within California. The one time I did stray from that was when I went to the last BronyCon, but but I'm like, man, I hope to go to a lot more that are outside of California. Be really nice to see.
It's a big stray.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think before we give it back to Kevin, and Kevin can kind of jump in on this, but I think nerds need a kind of a more controlled environment to socialize. A lot of them, not everyone, but a good chunk of them are on the autistic spectrum, as well as just kind of socially isolated people in general. So conventions give them a space to kind of connect with other people that like the things they do. And because there hasn't been a lot of conventions lately, besides people talking over Discord and whatever, I think people are just man, I have all this money and I miss my friends. I want to what are things to do? So it's actually, I think, a good time to start getting into the convention scene.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It comes back to organization and community. And essentially, if you have something that is set and organized, people will come. I mean, it's good fun. People want to be around people. That's human nature at its finest.
If you build it, they will come.
Yes, I do want to make the reference, but yes. And we have a great community here locally that really is welcoming, and we just kind of wanted to extend that to the world. So
that's a nice sentiment. So was there a specific point that made you want to start the convention, or you just were a nerd and we need a thing that's closer than all these other places?
It honestly started as a joke as we were building our game store that we have here, that my friends own. And we were sitting around and we're like, oh, what if we did NerdCon? We're like, wait, no, we don't want a convention. What about a festival, a nerd fest? And then we were talking about how we were gonna like set out stuff outside and put tents, and like, well, nerds don't actually go outside that much. and we can't fit everybody inside of our little store. I'm like, well, I have connections. What if we, I have connections. I have a settlement that I got from the Army because I was in a Humvee accident. And I'm like, so I have this little nest egg. I'm like, what if we just rented a couple venues downtown and made this happen? And then it went from there. And now we have 3 venues with 48 plus vendors, like over 100 activities. Like we have the world's tallest dice tower being built. It just, everything just kind of exploded. Mm-hmm. So now it's going to be amazing, awesome, ridiculous festival. So
Lauren, you can still come if you want to.
I just double checking what time. When is it again?
It's August 27th, 28th, 29th.
If I wasn't already going to a movie screening on the 29th, but
is it a virtual?
I have friends coming into town to see Lupin the Third in theaters, so. So really I'm in town. I'm staying in town for other nerd stuff.
That's fair. That's 100% fair.
God giveth and God taketh away.
But yeah, I was actually gonna say, like, since you have your experience in setting up events and stuff like that, when it came to this festival, where did you start in making it? Like, what was your jumping off point?
Well, the first thing we had to do, which was pretty hard, was find a date that worked. That in and of itself was kind of a struggle because, you got to compete with all the other major things going on. We didn't want to put any of the smaller local cons out of business by just like destroying their dates either. So we worked around kind of the community that was already established. So that was probably the first hurdle we had. So we finally got our date hammered down. And then we had to look at capacity. That was the next biggest hurdle was, all right, if we're going to do this, we want to make sure that we're not limiting how many people we can get here because, we'd hate to turn people away at the door. Mm-hmm. So then we ended up adding 2 more venues to the list so that we would have enough capacity to fit people. Especially since during the time of planning this, we were at half capacity for events. So then we added, from there, we started just planning small things. And then once we started doing social promotions, people were just lining up to join, vendors, entertainment. I even at one point in time, KP even messaged like, "Hey, we heard what you're doing. Can we be a part of it?"
Slides into DMs. Hey, so
slides into them DMs. Yeah.
I mean, that's how you got to do business.
Yeah.
Numbers and stuff. So.
And then assembling the team. That was probably my favorite part because I don't know if you guys believe in faith or God or anything, but I believe that everyone kind of just came to the team the way God needed it to be, because now everybody that is in their position now of my team is literally the best person in their field that I probably wouldn't have been able to put together myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we have someone that's in charge of cosplay. She's amazing. Sunny Doom Cosplay. She does an amazing job with that. We have Vitamin D Cosplay, aka Terry, who's in charge of our video game department. Of course, my partner Mike does streaming and the SEO stuff, as well as the the financial side of it. I have my beautiful fiance who I met during this journey, who has taken over like all of the different scheduling aspects of it. I have Alan, who is in charge of the board games. Literally best guy I know. He knows like every board game ever made. We got Robert, who's taking care of our TCGs, really good. He's got his own shop, so he really knows the market. So yeah, just watching the team, and then our product development department, our outreach team, our hospitality team, all just kind of came together, and it was really cool just kind of seeing the community grow. And just people, like my entire team just loves the community and loves to give back. So it just makes it all really, really worth it.
Yeah, no, the absolute right people. Everything falls into place perfectly when you have just like the perfect choice of people. And especially when nothing's worse than being like, say, a group project and nobody aligns with it. Like you're just
Right.
it's like wrangling cats. So it really is reassuring to hear of like, positive group dynamics and working together that well to make something big like this happen.
Exactly. Because you can be the best event planner ever, but you can't be in 50 places at one time. So you really need a good team.
Yeah, and so for all the vendors and all that stuff and guests, and so how did you like reach out to people, or did people reach out to you? Was it word of mouth? Was it kind of like how did the word spread?
So I did some SEO promotions, little back end advertising, but for the most part, people reached out to me. Once people figured out what was going on and how big it was, they were pretty much just jumping at the opportunity to be a part of it. I really didn't have to do too much reaching out as far as just service goes and entertainment goes. Other than maybe a few things, like we reached out to Bethany because we wanted to work with them for the auction that we were doing, the silent auction. We reached out, which was KP's idea, by the way. Thanks for that.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm like, hey, KP's participated in silent auction. So I'm like, there you
I was
go.
like, hey, let's do a thing to help like children and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's a good idea. And I'm like, yay.
Everyone, someone please think of the children. Actually, we are.
Yeah, and then we also went to all the local conventions. Like we did boost trades with all the little local conventions that we have around here. We met vendors, talked to them face to face. Say, hey, I like your product. You want to be at Nerdfest? We work with small businesses, just meeting people out in the community. So it wasn't too much reaching out on our part as much as it was just being in the community, and just putting it out there that we're doing this so people found out about it. We didn't do any traditional advertising until literally this last month. We jumped on the radio. Before that, it was all social media stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I guess though with social media, word spreads like wildfire. So especially with the right traction behind it. So I mean, at least that's great. You had that ground, the ground plan running already with that, and so and then pushing to radio, it does make sense, to follow up with that later, because then it's, if you're hearing on the radio, it's fresh in your mind. Whereas the internet, they say, kind of lives forever, right? So it's it's like go online and see what we have, and then you finally see it, But yeah, I appreciate that you guys got to pull it all together, seamlessly.
And a lot of it was just trial and error and figuring it out. I mean, I developed the website myself, and I don't have a extensive website development degree or anything like that. I just jumped on Wix and kind of figured out how it worked, and it was recreating the page over and over again. KP's, your team has helped a lot with kind of the look of like the front page and stuff. Jumped on there with Anthony, and he gave me a lot of pointers of kind of what looks good with block placement and stuff.
Yeah, for those who don't know what he's talking about, so Anthony was one of my team members that helps me book the events, not that I like just to help out because I just get overwhelmed easily. So yeah, Anthony and I went through the website before he talked to you, and I was like, what are there things that we can do? And then I compared it to, conventions that around the size and how they break it down. So I think it's fine for a first year, but um it gets all the information across, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. So now we have a nice, beautiful, crisp, brand new looking website. It looks like all the other conventions' websites. So it's nice, clean, and organized. We have rolling charts instead of a scroll bar. So everything's right there in your face on the homepage. So that's definitely a good tip. So if you guys are doing any web development, make sure everything's within a few clicks.
Yeah, and especially when you have like Wix or Squarespace, any of those kinds of pages, their templates, they try to keep them pretty streamlined so that it's easy as possible and more accessible as possible. Like what you said, make sure it's more focused on you can get within a few clicks versus I have to navigate the labyrinth that is a website and go to get to where I need to be. So I'm glad that there was like a lot that was a lot of learning on the fly by the sound of it too, and also from team members and then from KP side as well.
Yeah. And then go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just spent like I've been around the convention block, and I've been to a lot of mostly the last, let's see, I've been doing conventions for a while, but probably in the last like 3 years or so I've started vending, and I've started like actually at least trying to break even cost wise, because it's not really about me making money, it's about like the community and all that good stuff. So but traveling is also expensive too, so that's why I'm just like, hey, it'd be nice if like I could work this off somehow. How do people do that? They vend. But it's always nice to hear genuineness, I guess, from people that want to start conventions, which you find a lot in the pony convention scene too. It's still existent for those who don't know much about it, but it's mostly smaller cons, and then Everfree now, which works out better because I like Everfree a lot more than BronyCon anyway.
It's like, well, BronyCon's dead anyway, so
BronyCon's dead, and they treated me like shit. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever.
That's nice.
Sorry?
That's not nice.
No,
They should treat you nicely.
In a perfect world, but it's a long story. We won't get into it too much, but people just, there's a lot of times, especially with the big conventions, that people kind of let it go to their head and they get power hungry, and or they start trying to make it a for-profit business, and they kind of lose the community aspect, which always kind of bothers me, because I'm just like, you're doing this for the local people that are here. Like, you're not trying to make a monopoly kind of thing, or I'm not using words correctly, but you know what I mean. So it's always nice to have people that are just like, I want to do this for the community, and I'm like, yes, that's the right motivation, because from what I understand, making and running conventions can be hard, as well as I don't think they're, even if you were to do them for profit, unless you're like Santiago or something like that, it's kind of hard to make a profit from them. So
yeah, honestly, it's more about what you can get back that makes it worth it. Like, yeah, you'll make money on a convention. I mean, it's the way business works. If you weren't making money, then you wouldn't be able to do it again, because you can't just keep dumping money into something that's not profitable. But the important part is to make sure that you're giving back. I mean, we don't get all these resources just to sit on them. I mean, you have to give it back. I mean, otherwise it's your responsibility to be it when you're this big to give back, I feel. That's why we support as many charities and not-for-profits as we do. I mean, we're supporting 12 charities / not-for-profits with our convention, and we're hoping in future years we can do even more. So
yeah, I'm always excited to see where these things go. So
like, I guess we'll see what happens. Spend your money if you're in Davenport. I always get Iowa and Idaho and Ohio confused, so I just stop saying things because then people correct me.
Shuffling a few vowels around and people get confused all of a
Which one
sudden.
has the peanuts and which one has the potatoes, and I don't know where things are. So
We're corn over
you're
here.
corn, okay.
Yeah, you got your grains, you got your potatoes, and you got your peanuts, right? It's of the ones that you're getting mixed up.
Oh, you know.
But yeah, I was gonna say, because you mentioned like for panels and whatnot. What were your processes for well, I guess organizing panels or working with people to set up panels, and I guess to segue also into volunteering, if you have volunteers working there.
Yeah, so for the panels, we just kind of wanted to make sure that we had good quality stuff that people would be interested in doing. All of our panels are interactive because I don't know about you, but I don't really want to just sit there and listen to somebody talk for an hour. I want something that's more engaging than just listening. I mean, even you know, I don't know. I'm not a big documentary person, so I'd rather be something engaged. So all of our panels are nice and engaging. As far as volunteers go, we did it through our website, Facebook page. The volunteers that we do have get T-shirts. They have a snack room. They're really well taken care of. They work a little bit and then they get the rest of the convention for free. So that we made sure that we schedule them so they can actually enjoy themselves as well.
That's good.
We don't want them to just work and then, you know, they're like, oh, well, that was all work. You know, we want them to enjoy us so they come back year after year to have a good time. And there's no reason to overwork them. We have plenty of volunteers.
Yeah, like that's like, even like we've talked about it in a previous podcast concerning conventions, and it was just like the do's and don'ts. It's like make sure you schedule your days because and figure out the panels you want to go to, because before you know it, you're spending all your time in the vendor hall, and then you've missed out on all these panels. So it's like, and I know a whole bunch of people who like want to go for the panels for specific ones.
We have a very intricate scheduling system that I put together.
That's good.
And it's built to where you can kind of build your own weekend the way you want it. Now there's a lot of stuff, so you're not going to be able to do everything. It's just impossible. We have too many things to do to be able to do everything, but you're going to be able to get as much stuff as you want to do out of your weekend. That's why we staggered panels. That's why we made sure we don't have more than 2 at a time, and that they're different genres. We made sure that if we did after hours activities, if they're falling in the same time, they're for 2 different genres, so we can split the crowd between what they want to do. They can make a choice. They can really feel like the convention is tailored to what they believe their nerdum is. And we have we did so in a way that also allowed us extra time for cleaning and stuff like that, just to make sure it's all safe as well.
That's always a big one because COVID stuff is tricky these days. So
yeah, we also hired extra staff. This is trained professional staff that we hired through the venue to make sure that everything is getting cleaned and that the rooms are being transitioned correctly according to like those, you know, and they're trained to the CDC guidelines and everything to make sure that they're cleaning properly in between. We're not using the same room back to back for anything as well for those smaller rooms. And then we made sure we have plenty of space. So like our panel rooms that seat 100, we're capping at 50. The panel room that seats like 240, 250, I think we're capping at a max 200. So we want to make sure, and we made sure that we had seating that was distance in that room as well. I know a lot of people are excited for Kim Possible's pajama party.
So, right.
the 18 plus pajama party. So the way we got that is we have it up on the website. They have they can reserve their spot ahead of time online. that secures them the spot, and then that way day of it's nice and seamless. We'll allow people up to the capacity, and they already can reserve their spot ahead of time as soon as they get their ticket. So
okay, yeah, I was silly and I scheduled the same panels for both of the events, which is fine, but I didn't know the Kim Possible one at your guys' was 18 plus, which is fine, but that means I can curse, so that will be more fun for me anyway.
I can change it still if you don't want it 18 plus.
It's up to you, really. Like, I can do it either way. So,
I mean,
if you think kids
just
are
one
interested,
has the swears.
I mean, we have an 18 plus activity going on at the same time. So if I switch yours to all ages, then that gives something for the younger crowd to do after hours, if you don't mind. I mean,
that's totally fine.
The other one's 100% at the Redstone Room in the middle of the bar. So I mean, there's no way we can make it all ages.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. So yeah,
otherwise it makes for a very interesting family weekend.
Coming at you live, KP is now all ages.
KP is now all ages for that one specific panel. So yeah, I mean, I'm usually all ages. We've tried to gear the content to, like, if I curse or something, at least it's censored, or just in case I don't get any Bible thumping mothers being like, my child watches you on YouTube, but you said
I'll just have one of my volunteers stand up there with a foghorn and just give them the cue to just
we'll make a sign, no Karens allowed.
I am not getting sued for this. They're the ones that sue too, so.
But yeah, since you mentioned it, I'll talk about that one since so excuse me. This is for both conventions, so for Everfree and at Nerdfest. They will be different Kim Possible episodes, so I don't go crazy. But essentially, it's a showing of 2 Kim Possible episodes that I chose, and then we do trivia, and then we have prizes for the trivia. So if you don't care about anything else, then there's free stuff. So come get your free shit at the Kim Possible trivia panel. And you're encouraged to wear your pajamas. I know kids can bring their pajamas. This should be obvious, but I'll just say it since I can on the podcast. Please don't wear lingerie. Like, I don't want any, like 12-year-olds getting scarred by, like, people that are taking it a little bit too far. But I have, like, my legendary Simba onesie, so I'll probably be wearing that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the big old fluffy onesies are always
encouraged.
Yeah, I'm gonna invest in some onesies. I don't know if I would be. I don't know. So I have a couple of cosplays, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to do any of them this year. So I think I'm gonna probably just grab a couple onesies so I can have something to jump into for cosplay stuff.
It's the lazy man's cosplay.
What's that?
I said it's the lazy man's cosplay.
That's right. That's right.
Or it's the t-shirt saying "This is my cosplay."
My cosplay is a con organizer with no sleep.
Accurate. Yeah, no sleep that weekend. That's fine though. It's gonna be great.
What could possibly go wrong?
No sleep for Nerdfest.
621, please.
Yeah, for those joining us, or those who haven't heard a podcast episode, I think this is like our 3rd or 4th podcast episode. So I made this like nice little playlist of all the convention themed episodes, not podcast themed episodes.
Yeah, I'm like,
I made a nice playlist of convention themed episodes, so you can learn all about that if you care. So this is like our why angle and not like our how angle. So because we can't do the same thing 5 times.
The question should be why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, money, because that's a lot. That's a big factor.
They're very, 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 very expensive, and it takes literally all of your time, all of it. So anytime you're not doing something else, you are working. I even on vacation, I haven't had a day off since we started this thing a year ago. So, but it's going to be amazing, and it's going to make a really big, awesome impact in the community. So it's okay. I'll take a day off after Nerdfest. Just one though.
I'm doing it for you guys out there. You idle people. Corn, right?
I will. Yeah.
Corn. I just love corn, nerd corn.
Nerd corn.
I really hope there's ironically a booth that's just selling like corn themed accessories, like actual corn and like
Oh
corn
man, I'm gonna
hats
have
and
to
stuff
talk to
like that.
Visit Quad Cities and see if they can make that work. We do have a giant bison.
Like a real bison?
No, it's made out of like
Oh, it's a statue. Okay, I was just like, oh man, I
it's a
thought there was
bison
gonna
made
be
out
like
of
a bull
corn.
riding event with like
No,
a real bull.
it's the Bison Foundation. They're talking about building a because they're tearing down one of the bridges, so they want to turn it into a bison bridge. So the bisons,
So they can cross.
Yeah, they can cross.
Oh, you guys
that's
have wild
cool.
bisons out there?
Not close to the city, but but a little farther down the Mississippi, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I love those wildlife bridges. I always thought those were super cool.
So we have one of those guys coming. Those aren't our only giant statues though. Actually, we have the Battle Cats from He-Man coming.
Oh, nice.
John Marks has added us to their Battle Cat tour. So their 400-pound Battle Cats are going to be at Nerdfest.
Oh, nice.
And they donate a portion of their proceeds to Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's perfect timing for you, He-Man.
Yeah, so we, of course, gave them the space for free so that they can, give all those proceeds to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So.
Yay. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think,
go ahead, Lauren.
Because we also have for vendors. Is there like so in terms of vendors that would also include like Artist Alley kind of thing?
So we have, we do have an artist arena. Although I should call it an alley because it does actually look like an alley. But somebody, I can't remember what other convention called it Artist Alley, so I wanted to be different. But now I'm thinking it should be an Artist Alley.
Traditionally the difference is one is like the actual artisans that make like the posters, and the other difference is it just people that just are there selling things that they bought off the internet sometimes. So
well, these are actual artists, so at least for a good portion of them.
Yeah.
Well, we have Costco up there. I never even actually asked them what they're selling because they're.
You Costco. Just have Costco as a vendor.
I have Costco.
Costco's giving out free samples, don't you know?
I hope they are. I didn't actually ask, so I'm just assuming that they're gonna.
If anything, they may be like encouraging people to sign up for a membership there, which that would make sense.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we have Costco for a vendor. But no, we have. Let's see. I have 32. Regular vendors, and then for artists I have 17, so that's 49 vendors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Any vendors selling really cool things you want to highlight?
Well, we have Pokegarami, who sells crocheted little stuffies. So and she has a Pokemon line that is phenomenal. Like literally going to spend my entire paycheck on that. We have Splendid Treasures is going to be there. She's also one of our department heads, but her stuff is really, really cool. She does pixel beads or perler beads and that kind of stuff. There's Ace Gaming, which is a gaming computer company that's going to be there. So we need to hit that booth for Christmas is coming up, and we need like 4 gaming PCs because we have 4 kids. That's what all of them want at the same time. So, and then I guess the last one I would probably hit on is probably Code Ninja. Code Ninja is going to be there doing some cool stuff. So what they are is they do like kind of a dojo style martial arts kind of setup, but it's all coding.
Cool.
Wow.
So they're coming and they're going to be selling like their passes, and they're going to have coding, interactive stuff for kids, Lego STEM robotics stuff. So people can interact with. So that's going to be a really cool booth. We also have Girl Scouts coming too. So
hell yeah.
doing some coding and some swag giveaways and stuff like that. Heading off our scavenger hunt as well.
That
you
is
got
the
a
funny.
scavenger hunt?
These are the best. You got Costco and you got Girl Scouts. Are you gonna get some Boy Scouts in there too?
Maybe. I mean, I might have to reach out to them. They haven't messaged me. I mean, the Girl Scouts were all about it, so they're kind of slipping. So
the Girl Scouts know what's up.
What, though, it's summertime. They might be out camping and stuff. So maybe
that's fair.
Maybe they don't have like the internet in front of them, right?
They got lost in the woods.
That's a good song.
But I was gonna say you said there's a scavenger hunt going on?
There is a scavenger hunt. There's going to be 12 stops randomly through the convention. The first one's going to be the Girl Scouts. The rest of them you just kind of got to find. You go to the first one and that'll tell you where the next stop is. And when you get all 12 on your map, then you get to turn it in for the first 200. We have a exclusive Nerdfest 2021 enamel pin.
Nice.
Rainbow metallic enamel pin. It's really cool. After that, we have other swag that we're giving away. I think there's a raffle you get when you turn it into. So then they'll go for like the gift cards. I think we have Nerd HQ gift cards there and stuff like that. So it's going to be really fun.
That's cool. Have you thought about
you want to be one of the stops on the
Oh yeah, I have. That's actually a good point because we're printing. For both cons, we're printing coloring pages for kids, so that would probably be a good time to give them out and be like, "Thanks for stop and have your free coloring page of whatever." So there you go.
There we go. So one of the stops for you people that are listening to this podcast will be KP. You got to find her. She'll be somewhere. She might be hiding. Don't be creepy.
I'll probably be at the booth. It probably won't be that hard.
Don't be creepy about it.
I'll hide under the booth, and then Harry can be KP for a little bit.
There, that's fair.
How dare the coloring pages are for me.
They're my adult coloring book pages. Scribble.
I need them for COVID. I don't have any crayons though, so crayons are bring your own crayons for that. But
BYOC.
Bring your own crayons.
I'm sure we can find some crayons.
all the dungeon masters just have crayons on them.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we can get somebody that listening to this podcast to just send us some crayons. There's some things that people don't talk about with running conventions that are super random. Like right now in my living room, we have 7,140 comics to be given out just sitting there in my living room.
Oh wow!
What kind of comics?
So it's a graphic novel. It's Anthem. It's from the Atlas Society. So it's cool. It's my fiance enjoyed it. I haven't had time to read it yet, so I gave her the beautiful task of scanning it for me. But it looks cool. Like it's a cool cover. It's a nice thick, high quality comic. So, and everybody gets one for free. So
nice.
At least how we run out. So I mean, there's only 7,000 of them. So
first come, first serve.
Only 7,000.
Well, we might see more people than that, so we might.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, definitely for a first year con, there's always some adults that are just show up and they're just like, I heard this thing was happening. I remember one BronyCon, an adult was just like, oh, my kid loves ponies. They just watched that on eBay or not eBay, YouTube. Is this a free event? And I'm like, no, it's not. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm not interested anymore. You'll get there eventually. So let me think. Is there anything else either of you want to cover?
I don't know. I mean, we're really excited for the event. I think we kind of covered everything. There's a lot of stuff on the website, www.qcnerdfest.com. The nerd map is up and live. It's an interactive map. That's a really
nerd
cool
map.
feature. Yeah, the nerd map. So yeah, you go on the website. The nerd map is interactive. You can even mark the booths and attractions that you want to go to, and it will highlight it on your map.
Oh, cool.
Because there's 3 venues, so there's stuff in each of those places that you can book. That way you can kind of look at where you want to go. You mark the vendors you want to visit or whatever, and it puts them on your map so you can see where it is. You can access it all online and offline on your phone from the website.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I remember, in a way, kind of like what Lightbox did last year when they went virtual, is they had like a virtual, like somehow they teamed up with somebody to do like a virtual
that was so cool.
artist alley, and it was like, so you could so they basically programmed it so that you could go into like a first person perspective and walk down these little
like a 3D virtual tour.
Yeah, like a little 3D artist alley that was modeled, and then you can each of the vendors has a little booth that you could actually walk up to and click on, and they had like different back panels that if you clicked on it, it took you to either like maybe it'll take you to their artist page, and then maybe it'll take you to their shop, and maybe there's a special thing that they're highlighting, a special sale. So there's one that you click on that and you're like, okay, you can get only because you're at DesignerCon, you can get this Lightbox. If you can get this at Lightbox, and you get like 25% off of this thing that we're selling with this with this code. And it was cool though. It was but I like seeing people play with like interactivity for these kinds of things, like what you're doing with your map. It's not only makes it easier to like itemize tasks and events for the day, but it's also just we love interactive stuff. It's engaging.
It makes life easier.
Yep. And especially when I think a lot of us are along the lines of visual learners, so we kind of just like we soak in the visuals and like to interact with them. So.
Okay, I have a couple more questions. So my first question before we wrap up is, so we talked a little bit about like the cosplay contest and a little bit about my stuff, and like the CG, the card game stuff for like people that are into that. So what if like I was a parent and I had kids? Like what are some kid activities that are going on that can keep my child entertained while I go play what are the games? I guess I'm blanking. Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Yeah. So most of our events are family friendly, so they can play with you if they choose. But if not, I mean, some of the attractions that we do have is like I said, we have the world's tallest dice tower being built by Quad City Collabs. That's a D20 they can roll down. The proceeds of that go to support a nonprofit that works with foster kids. We have Girl Scouts out with all their interactive stuff. We have Code Ninja with their coding, their Lego robotics setup that they have. We have board games. We have a board game room, so you can do free play, you can do scheduled play. We have, of course, tabletop gaming, RPGs. We have Pathfinder. We have Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, we have the Cosplay Corner. We have 12 big name cosplayers over there that are going to be interacting and doing stuff, face painting, stuff like that, teaching kids, stuff like that. We have all of our panels. We have, I think, 30-something panels that you can go to. Most of them are set for all ages. We have convention foam fighting, which is really cool.
So what is that?
Oh, that is amazing. So we have convention foam fighting coming out. They have foam swords, armor, shields, and it's they'll run you through. They'll teach you how to sword fight, and then with these safe foam sword fight, you get to fight each other.
It kind of makes me think of You remember the jousting that they used to do at like carnivals and stuff, where you stand on a platform, the other person stands on a platform, and then you get like you have to put a helmet on, but then you like throw each other, throw like
Yeah,
a
they have
big
all that.
old cushion baton around, like that kind of idea, but less heavy.
These guys are the best in the field. They do C2E2, they do Gen Con, and they're going to be at our convention, and they're just really good. They're amazing. They're locally from Chicago, so it's we consider that locally because it's only a couple hours away. They're really, really cool people. They love working with families. So they're going to have a big team come out, and they're going to be doing stuff over at the River Music Experience venue. They'll be there. They have a big 1-versus-1 tournament. The winner gets the winner will get a ticket to next year's VIN, which is very important nerd ticket to next year's
Very
Nerdfest.
important nerd ticket.
Yeah. So we have those going out. And then we also have,
That's a lot if you want to stop.
It's a really cool experience. So it'll be cool. I think I might go take my kid over there so I can beat him up a little bit.
Sword fight.
Sword
Okay.
fight.
So, I guess last question to end is, what have you learned through this, or what are some of the highlights of what you learned through the experience of building a con? And like, if someone else wants to build a con or make a con, like, what advice would you give them?
I think the best advice I can give anyone is be flexible. Flexibility is the most important thing. You can't. You may have a vision of what you think this is going to look like. But the sooner you can just throw it all out, the easier your life is going to be. You got to be flexible. And if you can't be flexible, then it might not be the right market for you. So.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of things can happen that, aren't fun. So,
and anything can change on a whim, especially when it comes down to like scheduling and stuff like that. So and especially now in this day and age where it seems like there's a couple conventions where guests have like where they had like a special guests cancel because of COVID stuff. So you just want to be prepared.
It never ends, the ride. All right. I think that's it. So thanks so much, Kevin, for your time, and come to Nerdfest, because if it goes well, I can try to get them to bring John Delancey next time. Yay! So, like the one thing I'm good at.
All right.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't. Kevin, I bet you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's okay.
It's a long story, but it's summed up in an animated video.
You got to go back. I'll link you to the episode where we go through my epic backstory via podcast time. So and then if you guys are interested in me at Nerdfest specifically, I'm doing this at Everfree too, but my biggest thing is commissions. So if you have children, I can draw them as a pony or a creature. I can draw pretty much anything that is G-rated. Please don't ask me to draw creepy stuff on site. But so I can draw ponies. I can draw you as a pony. I can draw you as a Pokemon master, whatever. And then I have buttons and pins and stuff. So if you want to give me your money, I will take it.
And you will be... They can find you on the map. You're in M1, meeting space 1.
Okay, M1. And then, as another reminder, this is the only con I will have my doggo Harry with, who is small and cute and nice. So feel free to get pictures with Harry the doggo. He is super old though, so just be gentle.
Be gentle.
Be gentle. But all right, I guess we can wrap. So if you're new to the podcast, episodes right now are a little sporadic because of the convention schedule this month. But generally, we upload once a week on Wednesdays. And feel free to backlog if you haven't listened to anything before. Please subscribe to all the things, including the main channel, because that helps. Notification Squad, where are you at? No one will answer me because it's rhetorical. Anyway. And podcasts are good good ways to kill time when you're traveling from Chicago to Nerdfest, or you're going to Everfree or whatever. You can
We got plenty of episodes. Pick a
Spotify or
handful
whatever.
and listen.
All of them. You can learn about art and animation and conventions and more John Delancey stuff. Yay. All right. So thanks again. And Kevin, where can they find the socials for the con?
Yeah, so we are on Instagram at qcnerdfest.com. We are on Facebook at QC Nerdfest. And then, of course, the website, qcnerdfest.com.
Yeah, so check them out. Buy some stuff. We're donating a lot of stuff to charity. So if you have something cool you want to bring to that you don't like anymore, that you want to auction off for the charity auction, do the things. I'll probably donate something. I'll probably donate like a little KP, like variety pack or something. But all right. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Animation Communication. We'll see you whenever next time is. I don't know right now, but maybe like.
And Nerdfest.
Yeah, I don't know. And Nerdfest. I'll see you at Nerdfest physically if you come to Nerdfest. There you go. I can touch your face. with the mask on, please.
and hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Please don't have COVID. Stay home if you have COVID.
Yes.
I will be sad if I get COVID. All
Yeah,
right.
don't-
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to Animation Communication on YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider. We are really hoping this show makes a difference in how people view animation and media, as well as giving and providing advice for people all over the world who like or want to join the animation or media industry. If you liked what you heard, please remember to subscribe and rate those 5 stars, as well as tell your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our main YouTube channel, I Love Kim Possible a Lot, and turn those notifications on. My name is Scribbler, and you have been listening to Animation Kimmunication.